So, Rosalia just dropped a new song with none other than Björk herself. And it's not just any song. Not reggaeton, not hip-hop, not even flamenco. No, in a world full of Bad Bunny, Taylor Swift, and Benson Boone, the number 7 trending song on YouTube right now is an opera song. So this is pretty unprecedented, and obviously the internet is just losing their minds. Everyone is so impressed, they're practically foaming at the mouth about how innovative and genius and groundbreaking Rosalia is. But is the song that incredible? Or are we just collectively bending the knee because a top 40 artist decided to do something that wasn't stereotypical pop garbage? Well, let's find out. So we're just gonna dive right in and listen to a little bit of the intro. Okay, well, that was pretty impressive. It is, after all, the London Symphony Orchestra, so it better be. The playing is extremely fast and articulate. Only the most seasoned string players could achieve this level of speed, sound, and precision. So perfectly precise, in fact, that it's almost a little too good to be true. Let's listen very closely because I'm not the only person that's noticed this. For me, it sounds sped up.
Oi. Is this sped up? Yeah, you can hear it right there. Let's see. That seems really fast. I think this is sped up.
Those violins are flying through those arpeggios at a ridiculous speed. I know violins aren't like guitars, they can't just glide through patterns that quickly. My guess is that they might have recorded the orchestra at a slightly slower tempo and then increased the speed in post.
I have my doubts that that part was recorded at that tempo. My theory is that they recorded at a slower tempo than sped it up digitally because there's something there that just sounds a little too artificial.
And that would make sense actually because this is a genre-bending song and there's a part later on where they actually slow down Björk's vocals. Either way, these production tricks don't take anything away from the music or the musicians themselves. It's just something I noticed. Now, about the music itself. It's pretty good, but did it burrow into my brain or cause some sort of divine revelation like the people on TikTok seem to be experiencing? Not really. I would more so just say that I was impressed by the speed and intensity of the playing, or maybe the fact that the singer of Motomami is in the center of the London Symphony Orchestra. This song has a traditionally classical structure where there is a main motif played by the orchestra in tutti, meaning everyone at the same time, and then there is a subsequent response from a soloist. In this case, there are 3. Rosalia, then Björk, then Yves Tumor. So let's listen to the main motif. This part is clearly in German, and the lyrics translate as follows. His fear is my fear. His anger is my anger. His love is my love. His blood is my blood. It sounds like a romance song at first, but in the context of the rest of the song, it's less about romance and more about transcendence and spirituality.
It's describing a total merging of emotion. Fear, rage, love, even blood. As if the self dissolves into another person. That theme of surrender and transformation runs through the entire song and uses the club Berghain as a symbolic location of where a transformation like that might happen.
Shut up already!
Once again, this is an extremely well-executed performance by the London Symphony Orchestra and by Rosalia, and this heavenly choir sings the main motif. We are in D minor, using a 4-chord progression that repeats the entire song. Just simple minor classical harmony. It's a good motif, but the people that are comparing it to Winter by Vivaldi are being a little too generous if you ask me. That's a big comparison, because this is Winter. So, as I hope you can hear, Vivaldi's melody and harmony are much more complex and rich. He uses precision and tension to mirror the frozen elegance of winter itself, crafting a melody that moves with the perfect geometry of snowflakes and icy beauty. Rosalia, on the other hand, is using a 4-chord progression that repeats for the entire song, and it's a much simpler and shorter motif that stays on the same note for much of the time. It's repetitive enough to resemble a military march. Now, I do understand why they are comparing the two. Vivaldi's Winter has 3 movements, and Berghain is the first single of the second movement of Rosalia's ambitious upcoming 4-movement album, Lux. So it would seem that she is going for the same classical approach of releasing music as movements. Now let's actually hear Rosalia singing. I really do love Rosalia's timbre. Those are some pretty high notes. I believe that is an A5. So we can hear how she has been classically trained. She has a bachelor's degree in flamenco singing from the Catalonia College of Music in Barcelona. Her performance is flawless here. She effortlessly hits the notes, and you can hear that sort of traditional operatic phrasing where there's a sort of glissando when approaching the high notes. I'm not a professional soprano opera singer, so for me, she sounds amazing. There's a lot of emotion in her singing. She composed the melody herself and the lyrics, and I must say it's a pretty beautiful melody. This is also very traditional. It's something that genuinely could have been written in the 1700s. Now, like I said, I'm not a professional opera singer by any means, and honestly, I'm not even that well versed in opera music itself. So if you're watching this and you happen to know something about opera singing, I would love to know your thoughts on how good Rosalia is as an opera singer. But yeah, for me, she's really good. I've always liked Rosalia's voice, so no surprise there. Alright, let's keep going. So that's just the same motif, but this time it's finishing with a ritardando, which means slowing down. And they're doing that to prepare for the second response from a soloist. This time it's Rosalia again, but in Spanish. So what's cool for me is that every response has a different vibe. Rosalia switches up her style to a more flamenco pop type approach. You can hear the subtle articulations or apoyaturas or grace notes, like when she sings Ternura pa'l café. Solo soy un terrón de azúcar. Beautiful. The lyrics translate to, I know very well what I am, the sweetness of coffee. I'm a sugar cube that melts with the heat. I'm loving those string stabs or glissandos that are a perfect counterpoint or response to Rosalia's melody. Okay, so now we have a variation on the main motif, but now it's slower and more somber, but the lyrics remain the same. This is also the part where we can hear some electronic fusion influences, with Björk's vocals being obviously stretched and slowed. So that sounds pretty trippy. Check it out. Hear that? You can hear that the vibrato is exaggerated and drawn out, like you've stretched the audio file. And then the whole thing slows down dramatically until it reaches a final long chord on our tonic, which is D minor, giving us a fake ending. But it's not over yet. This is Björk's response, a very different melody and vibe. I love Björk. Her background vocals are always so fire. In this case, she's doing these short echoes that serve as an unpredictable counterpoint to the main melody. If you've listened to Björk, you know how weird she likes to get with her background vocals. And in comparison, these background vocals are relatively tame. This is not the first time that Rosalia and Björk collaborate. The first song was called Oral, and it was created to bring awareness about the environment. I didn't much like the song, but that's not really the point. What I'm trying to get at is that Björk is no stranger to orchestral music. She's arranged and orchestrated her own strings multiple times. Rosalia, on the other hand, was the main composer and lyricist for this project, but it's unlikely that she handled the orchestration or score preparation personally. Here is a handwritten sheet music excerpt that she posted on Substack. So we can safely assume that she composed the piano part, then brought it to professional arrangers and orchestrators, who then expanded it for the London Symphony Orchestra. And now we finish with this. This is Yves Tumor's part, which is just a repetition of the same lyric.
I'll you till you love me. I'll you till you love me. I'll you till you love me.
It's abrupt, even uncomfortable, but I think that was the point.
Till you love me. Till you love me. Love me. Till you love me.
Did that deer just grow arms? That was really scary.
Till you love me. Till you love me. Till you love me.
Okay, well, that was a little bit jarring. Now, just a brief summary of what I think the song is about. It supposedly builds around the tension between the sacred and the physical. Earlier, Björk sings that the only way to save us is through divine intervention, representing spiritual transformation. Yves, on the other hand, completely flips that. Their repetition feels primal and confrontational, suggesting that transformation doesn't come from heaven, but from the body, through desire, intensity, or even violence. So by the end, we've essentially gone through 3 cycles. Rosalia carries the emotional burden and longing for release. Björk reaches for transcendence and divine salvation. And Yves Tumor rejects both and drags it back down to earth, transformation through chaos and physical surrender. All of this seems to unfold inside Rosalia's metaphorical version of the club Berghain, hence the title. At least that's what I've gleaned from it, because believe it or not, this is the condensed version of what people online have been dissecting. There are many layers of historical references, symbolism, and hidden meanings in the video that I haven't even touched on here, with religion, high fashion, and even Disney princesses. So if you've made it this far in the video, congrats, because you're a really patient person. Because while this all seems to be very deep and meaningful, I get the sense that this is just spectacle for the sake of it. It's like Rosalia is trying her hardest to appear so deep and intellectual that she put a bunch of obscure, convoluted stuff into the video that doesn't really make any sense unless you're willing to spend hours researching and writing a video essay.
Why would you do something like that?
Like seriously, can anyone try to describe the meaning of this song in one sentence? I dare you. For all I know, Rosalia could have just written totally random lyrics and let the internet make a meaning of it. Now, to get back to the point of the video, was this song a piece of shit? No. It has a lot of strong elements. The orchestration is beautiful, Rosalia's performance is fantastic, and the concept behind it does carry emotional weight. There's clear effort and artistry and money here. But is it groundbreaking or an innovation of the era like everyone is saying? Personally, I don't think so. Mixing classical or operatic influences with pop isn't new, and Rosalia isn't the first artist to explore that combination.
Throughout history, many pop artists have collaborated with classical orchestras or classical music. Among the first to include symphonic orchestras in their recording work,
Ray Charles, Frank Sinatra, Nat King Cole, Ella Fitzgerald, Los Beatles, Juan Gabriel, Luis Miguel.
One of the most important sopranos in history
Montserrat Caballé
was featured in a live duet with Freddie Mercury.
Even within Björk's own catalog, there are examples that feel more emotionally resonant. I think the reason that people are absolutely salivating over this is because Rosalia did it.
If Berghain wasn't released by Rosalia, no one would be listening to it. If a random girl had uploaded it on SoundCloud, people would say, well, it doesn't have a hook, it's not commercial, and it's a little weird. But when someone who already has millions of listeners releases it, out of nowhere it's considered to be a concept, avant-garde, art. And that's where the problem is. The industry doesn't respect the risk, just the name.
If your neighbor released this, no one would give two shits. So while the song is solid and well crafted, I wouldn't call it revolutionary. I hope at least that since this is going so viral, other artists, Taylor Swift, can maybe get inspired by this and try something different. Maybe borrowing from different genres or formats. Hell, anything with more than 4 chords is welcome in my book. Maybe this will usher in a new era of artistic experimentation amongst bigger artists.
You sure about that?
I just hope that her upcoming album, Lux, actually follows through on this concept and that this isn't a fake out with the rest of the album turning out to just be urban pop. But by the looks of things, I don't think it will be, so I commend Rosalia for venturing into something that no one expected. And it's cool to make a video about a viral song that is so drastically different from your standard pop formula. Anyways, that's all for today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you disagree with me, I'm ready to receive your hate in the comment section, so bring it on. Subscribe if you haven't already, and thanks for watching. Bye!